Yeah, obviously the team's been announced, you've seen it. I thought Matty Banahan did very well last week. It's no reflection on Dellen, who's also good. It's just you just get something slightly different with Matt than you would with Dellen. Plus he hasn't started a game for 4 weeks, so it was a chance for him to go and play. So brought Simon Shaw back onto the bench, still playing very well. Obviously brought Lewis Moody back in as well to start with Tom Croft. So the great thing, as I said all the way through, is it's great to have consistency, and you can just move on every week and add things and just put another layer of detail and experience into the team. So it's going to be a big game. Obviously they're coming off a loss. There's been a lot of talk in the week about where they are, and we're just going to concentrate on ourselves. We know we're going to have to play at a very high level against these guys. It's going to be very physical, intense, and a great test match. I think everyone's looking forward to a full-blooded test match at Twickenham.
Martin, how concerned should the guys be who haven't made the 22, the guys you sent back? What have you told them as you told them?
Well, each guy's in a different place. I mean, Dellen, he's very much part of our squad going forward into next year and onto the World Cup. He's a test match player. We know that. He's got a very competitive team to get into at the moment in the back three, particularly. He obviously would love more time to play, a chance to start, and it hasn't quite happened for him in this autumn. It's no reflection on his form. He's actually been playing very, very well for his club. So I think it's a positive sign for us. It's where we are as a team. It's the back three guys have played very, very well. He needs to go back and play and continue his good form and take his opportunities when they come. So the good thing from our point of view, we've got guys who can play in test matches, who we trust to play in tests, and unfortunately can't all make the 22.
And how far away are England now from being, if not the finished article, and where you want them to be going into the World Cup?
I get a little bit concerned when people start talking about finished articles, and 2 weeks ago everyone was talking about Australia, and 3 days later they'd lost 2 games, and suddenly the world's turned upside down. So we're playing a very, very good team. In no way are we anywhere near the finished article. I don't think you ever are the finished article. You're always looking to improve. We've got a lot of young players. Look at the amount of caps we had on the field last week. We bring some experience back with Mike and Lewis, but the great thing for us is every week, every test match is something new and something to get better from, and the experience that the guys get from it is all new. Some of our players haven't played South Africa in a test match. You prepare them for what it's going to be like, and then they have to go and face it. So, we talked about last week. I was pretty pleased the way we handled the game. It was a different challenge than the week before, and this one's a different challenge again. They'll drive a lot of ball. They'll kick out of defence. Their line-out's very strong. So every week's a different challenge, and we have to handle it with the intensity that you need in test match rugby. And it's a cracking game to be involved with whenever you play South Africa. You know what you're going to get in terms of intensity, and that's what test match rugby is. So it's a great challenge for this team this week.
After that Samoa game, do England need to remind us they can play tight if need be? And are South Africa the ideal opposition to prove that?
Whether the ideal opposition or not, that's who we're playing. So yeah, the game is multifaceted. You won't always get a test match like England-Australia. They'll all be different. The ebb and flow of the game. Last week was far more stop-start, far more scrums, far more sort of reset scrums and penalties. And it took the tempo out of the game a little bit, and you have to handle it. And I thought after the half-time, when we were sloppy at the start, we came back and scored the points and put the game away. So it is a different challenge, as I said, that they will drive more than we've faced so far, and we have to be up to that as well. They can also, they can play. They've been, this team's been around the block, the South African team. There's a lot of caps, a lot of experience there, and a lot of pride there, and that's what makes it the challenge that it is.
And how good will you have to be at set piece time, especially the line-out?
Yeah.
They've been the best in the business for a good while now.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. I think our set piece has responded. Against New Zealand, the scrimmage was good. Against Australia, they also threaten you in the line-out. So yeah, another week, another challenge. Matt Feld and Bota and Joanne Smith. They're probably the premier group that's been around in the world for a good few years. So it's as you say, every week is a big challenge. It's just a slightly different in a different way.
And scrum time as well, obviously a key area there. I mean, people are talking about the beast up against Dan Coleman. How do you see that going?
Yeah, well, you don't know what type of game you're going to get. I mean, against Australia, everyone was talking about the scrimmage, and it wasn't as big a factor in the game. Last week, we got a lot out of it. We had an opportunity to impose ourselves at times and get penalties. So, how many scrums will be in the game? How many lineouts? You don't know going in. You have to just be ready for it in case it is a big factor. And like every area of the game, you want to get an edge. You get an advantage. I mean, people talk about dominance. You probably don't get that at high level test matches very often, if at all. It's just it's building those little edges you get over the field, those little battles that we talk about every week. If you're winning the majority of those, then you put yourself in a place to win a test match, and then it's down to taking chances. And if we can do that as well, have composure when we're down in their third of the field, take our opportunities, create pressure to get, if we don't score tries, to get penalties and build a score that way.
Scotland do you a service or a disservice, or do we read too much into these? Does it change the dynamic at all? They're coming off a defeat on their part. I think for teams it does, and we have to. We talked last week. We have to be able to play no matter what happened the week before. That's a definite. I think you've seen that with lots of teams through the autumn. They've responded to adversity very well. Scotland did. We did a little bit after the All Black game. But if you want to be a consistent test team, you have to be up there every week. It's what the All Blacks have probably done better than anyone this year. Their performance have been very high, very consistently, and that's why they've won the games. So we have to be able to sort of put behind us, good or bad, and concentrate on the next week and set our standards that bit higher. I think the way we've trained, look at us train now, I think our standards are certainly higher than they were 6-8 months ago. Our expectations of each other are higher, and as a team we're able to tell each other, that needs to be better. The way the guys communicate on the field's improving. Floodie's really come into his own this last few weeks and run that side of it and driven the attacking game, fantastically well. So lots of good things happening, and we need them all to happen from 2:30 to 4:15, whenever it is on Saturday.
Martin, in a funny sort of way, does this game define the autumn?
Every game's defined the autumn, hasn't it? But it's true, because every game you play there's only one team can beat us this week, and that's South Africa.
Is there a sort of cup final feel to this?
Hopefully, every test match is a cup final. That's what we need to get to. Every test match is a cup final. There's no little test matches. Every test match is a cup final. That's where you're right. That's where you need to be at, and then you get performance out of it. So the art of it is to be there. Now, I think some of our guys said last week, actually, they struggled to get that final few percent last week, and that's honest of them to admit it. And they have to be able to do that, whoever they're playing, because you offer fraction. We talked about it. You only offer fraction. That's what we're talking about. That's games, isn't it? That fractions are what wins games. So, if you however many times you play South Africa in your career, or New Zealand, or Australia, or Samoa, it's not that many, and they're all cup finals.
I suppose it defines more for the media, but for you, does it sort of tell you where you're at?
They're all different challenges in their own way. You play Australia, you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes they can pull things out of the bag. They'll play differently one week to the other. South Africa, they're probably more consistent in how they play. You've just got to deal with it. You've got to deal with the intensity, and that's part of the game. Rugby, there's not that many secrets. You can tweak things a little bit in the week, but you've just got to handle what's there and produce that intensity and that accuracy on the day. I mean, we could have scored 2 or 3 against them. We didn't. And you have to deal with that. You have to deal with being 8-6 down. The crowd gets a bit quiet. And that's what happens in test matches. And we could be 10-0 down tomorrow. They're good enough. And then you have to dig yourself out of that hole. We could be 10-0 up, which poses another issues mentally in terms of having a lead. We had the lead against Australia, and the good thing was we kept our foot down there and didn't get conservative. So every test match is unique. What happens in it is unique, and dealing with it, that's what experienced teams can do. So I know what you're saying in terms of being a pivotal game, and they all seem to be, and that's probably a good thing.
Just finally for me, on the Dillon thing, he seems to be the unlucky guy.
Dillon?
Yeah. And I know you can't pick the London Irish team, but you said he's got competition to get into the back 3 with England, which he clearly has. Would you like, in a way, to see him operate at 13 for Irish to expand his portfolio?
No, there's a lot of talk about him playing there. We said to him at the start, he's pushing to get into the team, and he was. And the good thing is, the other guys have responded very well and played exceptionally well. So the good thing from our point of view is a whole group of guys now who are good players who can play in Test matches. When you pick someone, you want him to nail down that shirt with his performance, and we're getting that now. It's guys are playing very well and saying, on the England, whatever it is, whatever number it is, on their back, 10, 9, 8, you're going to have to play bloody well to get me out of this shirt, and that's what you need. You don't get given, it's not turns, it's Test match places, and they're precious, and those guys are keeping hold of them at the moment.